7 signs that you have unhealed trauma. Welcome back to another video. I'm Max Hindle and I help entrepreneurs reprogram their life, rewire their minds for happiness, success, abundance, fulfillment, confidence, you name it, I do it. And in today's videos, I'm going to be outlining 7 signs that you have unhealed trauma and how you can allow yourselves to let that go and change your life. Before we get started, don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell icon so that you get notified whenever I post, and don't forget to stay to the end of this video so that you can have different ways that you can release this trauma so that you can finally move on and live your greatest life. Sign number uno that you have unhealed trauma. You have a low self-esteem, and when you feel like you want to say something, you always feel like it's going to be the wrong thing. You feel like someone's going to take the mick out of you. You feel like it's just not the right thing to say. Even though you know you want to say it, you just feel like it's too much hassle to say it because you're worried about their reaction, of how they're going to react, of what they're going to do, of what they're going to say. And you just feel like it's just better to just keep quiet because then I'm not interfering, then I'm not going to have the backlash, because we always tend to think of that negative when we're living in that place of trauma. We always think about what's the worst that can happen when it necessarily may not be like that. But I get it. We feel like there's something there that if we say it, it's just going to cause an issue. We don't want to cause an issue. We never do, and I know you don't. But you just feel that low self-esteem, especially when you're around other people. Sign number 2. You just can't ask people for help. And this isn't out of ego. It's because you don't want to be a burden. You don't want other people to be dragged down with your issues. You don't want them to have to stop what they're doing to help you. And I want to tell you something, just a little side note, just a little top tip from Max. You're not a burden. You're not a burden, I promise you. And if you need me, I'm here. Please feel free to head over to my website if you want any help with that, www.maxhindle.com, or send me a message on Instagram, because you're not a burden. We need to heal that trauma. We need to let it go. And I know that you can do it. You've got this, I promise you. Sign number 3. You don't allow yourself to have those positive changes in your life. You hold on to that shame, that guilt, that trauma, that pain, that hurt, that worry, that stress, that tension. And you don't allow yourself to let it go. And the more you feel it, the more it feels like you. Because at the end of the day, if we've been built up with trauma for long periods of time, it feels normal. It feels like us. So we feel like without that guilt, that hurt, that shame, that stress, that tension, we're not going to be us. But I want you to know that you will be you. Even better you. Number 4, you're scared and you have a fear of failure, but also a fear of success. And both a fear of failure and a fear of success, if you've got both of these, we're going to have a massive struggle here. But starting with a fear of failure, it's because you're worried about what's going to happen. You don't want to do the worst, so it's easier just to not do anything, and I get that. But this is where working with someone, whether it's someone else, whether it's me, if you want to head over to my website, please feel free to do so. But when you start to work with someone, you realise that the fear of failure is actually an illogical fear. And the fear of success is an illogical fear. But if emotionally we're feeling that because of our trauma, we're going to hold on to, it's easier to not succeed and it's easier to not fail, so I might as well not try. Because if we're bringing up those emotions, we're going to feel that negativity. We're going to feel that stress, that worry, and even more of those emotions that we're already feeling. Because you just don't feel motivated because it's easier to just do nothing. And I want to promise you something. You can make that change. I promise you. I promise you. I promise you. That's why I'm making this video. Number 5. You need to be completely in control of everything. And when you're out of control of everything, life just becomes too much. Things just get too heavy. It feels like a weight is on your shoulder. It feels like there's a house on your shoulder. It feels like, oh, I just can't cope. I just can't cope. The 6th sign that you have unhealed trauma is you're always being told you're away with the fairies. And not just away with the fairies, but when people ask you about it, you can't even remember what you were thinking about. It was just a blank stare. Everything just feels blank. Everything just feels confusing. You just get confused from time to time and just forget, what was I doing? And it's not like overwhelming, it's just just like a lost feeling. A feeling of not knowing, not understanding. And as I said, like that away with the fairies, but not in a magical, mystical way. More of a negative and just, I don't know, way. And the most important and the 7th sign that you have unhealed trauma is you push those that love you away. You can lash out to those that love you. You can also lash out to yourself. You can also hurt yourself. You can also hurt others around you. And again, this isn't necessarily your fault, but this is down to you to heal. And this is painful. I get it. I know that it's painful. And sometimes you just don't understand why you react in this way. You don't understand why other people act in a similar way to you. And what it comes down to is the unhealed trauma that's within you. So now you've understood the 7 signs of having unhealed trauma, or just 7 signs. There's many more signs to this, but these are just 7 that I picked out personally. And you understand that you want to let them go. And I'm sure the reason you're watching this video is you want to understand it and you want to let them go. And I want you to understand that in order to let them go, we need to allow ourselves to be vulnerable now. And when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, you may begin to see these things start to shift in our life. You may begin to feel these different things that begin to happen in our life. Because when we start to feel the pain of a cut, that's when it starts to heal. We first must feel that pain in order for it to heal. And this is where I personally use hypnosis. And if you want hypnosis to release unhealed trauma, which is something that I specialize in and something that I specifically work with, I can do many other things, but this is what I like to do because don't like trauma. Do not like trauma. Want it gone. And that trauma that we can release in hypnosis, because all it has to be released from is up here. It doesn't have to be physically moved from our life. It just has to be removed from up here. And when we remove it from up here with hypnosis, we can slowly move to that place of where we want to be. We won't have those lash outs anymore. We won't have a fear of failure or success. We won't have a low self-esteem or even asking for people for help. You won't be lost with the fairies, and you won't always need to be in control, because life isn't just so simple. Life isn't just great. It isn't. There's bad things that happen in life. When we can accept that, but we can adapt our approach to life to accept that, to adapt to it, to change, to shift, that's when we start to make these dramatic shifts in our life and we release that trauma so that we feel much better about ourselves. Because at the end of the day, the long and short of it is, once we change our perspective with what happened and we allow ourselves to feel much more confident by working on different techniques, from visualization to hypnosis to self-hypnosis to meditation and even down to self-talk, we start to release the pain and we start to become that of love. And when we become that of love, we start to spread and emit that energy out everywhere. So I want you to know that these are the different ways that you can release trauma. All the things that I just explained just there. Hypnosis, again, I said that's my favorite way of doing it. It's the way that I help people do it. So if you've got that right now, let me know. Let's sort it out. But other than that, I hope this video has given you something of information to help you understand where you're at, to help you understand where you want to go, so that maybe I or someone else can help you release what you need to release. But don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell icon. Why do I keep saying icon? I keep saying icon in the last 3 videos, I think. Oh my god. Hit that bell icon so that you get notified whenever I post. But other than that, have an absolutely amazing day. Keep spreading love, kindness, releasing that trauma, and so much positivity.